In a previous podcast, I chatted about hydration and how fundamental it is to our overall health. Now, sometimes coming into the winter especially, it can be hard for people to maintain their hydration levels because just cold water just isn't so appealing. But actually, herbal teas can contribute to our intake. So I am thrilled today to be chatting to Roisin Sheridan from Healthtea.ie. And Healthtea is a company which Roisin founded in Bunboy, County Cavan. So she's originally a Galway girl, but we'll claim her. Roisin has founded her business from her passion, and she has a great story, and she also has some amazing blends which are not only going to contribute to your hydration, but also to your nutritional status, because her blends are packed full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and she has, I think at least 14 different blends in her range, as well as customizing blends, so I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And I'll put all the details and contact details for Roisin in the show notes. So this is Roisin Sheridan from Healthtea.ie. So Roisin, it's great to be chatting to you today, and I thought we might kick off with just really, where did your interest in herbs and herbal teas originate?
Well, herbs is like from a child. So my dad, we grew up in the city, in Galway City, but my father was from the country. He was from Enniscrone, and he was used to growing. And even in our garden, he always had like a selection of herbs and vegetables growing. So we always had that connection to our food and to nature. And then my grandmother, my dad's mum, she would have always fed everyone nettle tea. Every year before winter came in the spring, everyone got their nettle tea. And she knew all the herbs, and she used to love being outside and being in the garden. So I think I definitely got something from her. The love of it. But herbal tea, I was not actually a herbal tea drinker before I started making my own herbal teas, which is funny. I always drank black tea, and it wasn't until I went out myself and started getting the herbs from my garden. I said, my granny loved the nettles, and I started drinking the nettles, and I realized just how good they were for you.
Yeah, it all came back to you.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. It was like, wow, this is what she was talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so lovely to have things in your garden that you can actually use to benefit your health. So were you addressing any particular health issues yourself when you started taking them?
Yeah, for me, it was COVID had hit, and I literally found out I was pregnant with my third child the same week that the hotel started closing and we all lost our jobs.
Wow.
And Varadkar came out and made that speech. And I thought, oh my God, it was really scary. And I was pregnant, and I'd lost a couple of pregnancies before, and I was thinking, I can't lose this. And I was sick. I was anemic. I was celiac. And I was just like, I need nutrition. And I was sitting out in my sunroom, and I went, nettles, Roisin, the nettles, of course, the nettles. And that's what I did. I went out with my bucket and my sisters, and I got the nettles, and I started drinking that every day. And I'd say after a week, I was like, I just, it's not like a bang where I was like, whoa, I feel, it was a gradual kind of over the week. I was like, whoa, I have way more energy than I had. I feel better in myself. My hair was better. My skin was clear. And that's when I decided, wow, I need to get everyone else to drink nettles.
Yeah, exactly. And anything that's good for the gut, for digestion, is obviously good for our overall health as well. So I suppose once you had sort of reconnected with that passion, how was your experience of actually turning it into a business?
Well, when I started drinking the tea, and I was decided, right, I need to get all my family to drink it. I need to get my friends to drink it. I've got friends who are low in iron and who are anemic, and especially women. I think we seem to have, that iron issue, and obviously, we have our periods, and our bodies go through an awful lot. And I knew that nettles could really benefit women and a lot of my friends, but none of them would drink it. So I had to make it taste good. And it never occurred to me that this was a herbal tea. It was more like maybe a vitamin drink or a mineral supplement that I was thinking of in my head. And I said, right, iron brew, and I'm going to make it delicious so that everyone will drink it. And it took me a while of mixing all the different herbs and then studying all the herbs and their nutrition and finding out what were the ones that could benefit us the most. And they all had to grow in our garden.
Yes.
So, you know, you have your raspberry leaf, your dandelion leaf, your peppermint, your red clover, and your nettle. And these are all things that grow in most Irish gardens or countryside somewhere.
Yeah. We just don't recognize them, really.
Yeah, because we've forgotten.
Yeah.
We've forgotten. And so then when I knew when I finally done it, weeks and weeks, and I was like, oh, Roisin, just give up. You're not going to do it. And finally I took one sip and I was like, oh, this is it, right? I'm going to send this to everybody. And when I did, people were just so, I think I was so surprised by the feedback that they really enjoyed it. They're like, this is so good. They felt so good drinking it. That's when I said, okay, I'm going to try and make this a business and make this my new passion, I suppose, and my new goal.
Absolutely. And when you start up a business and you're working with your passion, it's not really work. Well, of course it's work, but
it's work, but it's
you're
different.
enjoying.
Yeah. You know, and that was so I just rolled with it after that. I set up my little page on Instagram, and I didn't really know where it was going to go. And I was kind of thinking it might just tie me over until everything comes back to normal and I'll go back to work in the hotel and hospitality. And but it really took off that I didn't have to go back to work, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that was you know, I suppose COVID has obviously had some awful impacts, but in some cases it has given us a bit of space to maybe consider what we're doing, where we're at, what we'd like to be doing. And I think it was certainly very good for a lot of local producers as well.
Definitely. You
know, in terms of people going back to maybe more.
Just slow down.
Slow down.
You know, and to be, you know, you had nowhere to go. You had to sit in your garden. You had to maybe go for walks in your local area. And it really changed people's perspective, I think.
Yeah.
Even on what's important.
Exactly. There, and I suppose speaking to that, there is a quote on your website which I love, and you say that every decision we make is decided upon by first asking, is this good for the earth, and is this good for people's health and well-being? So I find that fantastic ethos to be building a business on, and very brave and courageous of you to be sticking to it, because I know your packaging.
It's not always the easiest thing to stick to. I literally every day hand on my heart and I go, is this good for the earth and is it good for people? And if the answer is no to either one of them, then I just don't do it. And I suppose like if you think loads of people are asking about tea bags, can you put your tea into tea bags? And I have not found a tea bag that I can use and produce like commercially that doesn't leach microplastics, that isn't good for the earth. And so then I just said, no, then I can't do it. Even though it would be good for business, it would make good business sense, but it's not good for the earth and it's not good for people. So that's a no.
I know. And exactly. So I have a couple of things here. So I have this, which I've made a pot of your Serenity here as well. So I have this infuser teapot in the middle. And we have, you know, a French press as well, which people might use for coffee. So, you know, a lot of kitchens will have these for coffee, but we can use these for herbal teas as well. But I mean, I like the fact that I'm not adding to my rubbish, you know, because it can be hard with the best of intentions. It's really hard to not produce additional waste. So I love the fact that, I mean, they're all very convenient. You know, there's no problem. You know, once you have one of those things in your kitchen, you can use tea leaves, you know.
Yeah, of course. And I know it's a little bit more hassle having to empty them or having to clean them out. One simple thing that I do is I just empty them into my plant. I put a little water in with the herbs and throw the herbs in on the plant, or throw it out in your garden.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You don't have to,
go back to nature.
But another thing as well, when it's not in tea bags, so say if it's in your teapot or in your French press, that you're actually getting more goodness from the leaves, from the loose leaf herbs, because when, I suppose it's osmotic diffusion. So as you put in the water, the leaves expand.
Yes.
And they release the nutrients out, whereas when they're in the tea bag, they can't expand enough to get enough nutrients from the leaf into your water.
Absolutely.
So to have the same nutrition as the leaves in the water, it's better in a teapot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're literally pushing in the French press. You're nearly pushing the nutrients out, the pressure.
Squeezing them out.
Super. No, they're fabulous. Now, when you are obviously your inspiration for your first blend, the Iron Brew, was the nettles. So you have a fantastic range on your website. I counted about 14 different blends.
Yeah.
So when you're looking to I suppose create a new blend, are you starting off from the point of view of a particular health issue, or do you start off with the herbs and the flowers that you have around you? Which inspires you?
Both at different times. So obviously the Iron Brew, it was very much what we had around us.
Yes.
So I wanted to be full of iron and mineral rich, but it also has to be things that grow around us.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be bringing in anything kind of foreign. But now as I grow, I can decide, well, maybe I'll grow this to add to a blend. But it's unlike herbal tea, which are kind of created for flavors. Like a true health tea is therapeutic.
Yeah.
And so I always think of the health benefits. So that, like, the next blend that I created was lemonade.
Yes.
And a friend of mine had this terrible addiction to lemsip.
Okay.
And I said, right, I'm going to make you a natural lemsip. And I called it lemonade. And I literally grew every type of lemon plant that I could to make it as lemony as possible. Yeah. Because all the lemon plants are very antimicrobial, they're antibacterial, they're antiviral. Yes. So they'll work in the same way as a lemsip. Mm-hmm. But without all the chemicals and the additives. So wow. That was a massive indicator for me, was it had to do the same thing as the lemsip.
Yeah. So just being aware of what's going on around you and taking note of the things people are talking about, and then, as you say,
and the things people need as well.
Yeah.
I think like Serenity, the one you're drinking now,
yeah,
that, like, so many people are stressed and so many people are burnt out. Mm-hmm. And I think loads of people realize that over COVID as well. Like, finally everyone just got to go,
yeah, and
just take a breath.
Yeah.
So Serenity was the one that I created that specifically for, like, helping people just to calm down and to, just to ease frazzled nerves.
Just help people sleep as well, because sleep is a big issue. Yeah.
Yeah, sleep is a massive issue. I think screen time, and we take too many stimulants, and we, or the food that we eat, so many things contribute to it. So if we can do one thing to help, which would be to drink, your flowers, and most flowers actually are quite calming and soothing for your nervous system.
Yeah. So what would be, you have a great range. I have sort of top 3 that I tend to sort of recommend. Do you have a top 3 favorite blends if you were to recommend to someone to try them, to start with?
I would always try, like, especially for someone who's new to herbal tea, I would always say to try the lemonade.
Yeah.
That's kind of the go-to. And a lot of people who don't like herbal tea will try it and go, oh, that's actually quite nice. I like that. Yeah. Then it's the Iron Brew. They'd be my 2 top, and obviously the double mint, because double mint, mint, a lot of people just love mint.
Yes. So that's a good point, to get people tasting it with the flavors they like, and then they become more adventurous. Exactly. I know there was one that the mojito.
Yeah, mojito.
Yeah. Mohiti. You made that, you had that at one of the markets. You had made it into an iced tea, and it was delicious. It was gorgeous. Yeah. So do you have any tips for people, say, if they wanted to turn it into an iced tea drink? Because I know it can be hard for people to come up with an alternative when they're trying to give up, say, minerals, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
So something like that has
a great alternative. And the thing is, you can drink them cold.
Yes.
And all the blends that I've made should all taste good cold. Yeah. And another thing you can do, so even if you're too busy, you don't want to make iced tea, just make a pot of tea and let it go cold and pop it into the fridge. Yeah. If you want to sweeten it up, you can always add a spoon of honey, or maybe a little bit of stevia or something for a little bit of sweetness.
Yeah.
But it's really not necessary. Again, if you brew your herbs the first time you drink it hot, pour hot water over it again, let it sit overnight. Drink it the next day cold, and you have, like, a vitamin and mineral rich water.
Yeah. The longer you leave it steep. Yeah. I mean, even like 10 minutes would be the minimum, really, wouldn't it? With herbal teas, let them steep. Yeah.
Yeah. First, I used to recommend 15 minutes, and then people were like, that's just too long. Yeah. No, it's going to take 15 minutes. And I was like, well, you should.
Yeah. So I am imagining your garden as this wonderful, magical place. Have you sort of, I suppose, added to the herbs and the what might be considered weeds, you know, like nettles, and to the plants that are growing in it since you began the business?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I've so much now. Like people do laugh when they come into the garden that we have actually a nettle patch.
Yeah.
Like we might take a photo of it actually, and we've this whole row of nettles. And people
Yeah.
like, growing nettles. Like, then you know I go out and our whole garden is full of dandelions because once you start picking the dandelion blossoms,
Yeah.
more and more come. Oh my gosh, yeah. So people do see me out picking daisies and picking
Yeah.
dandelions, and red clover, and they must think I'm absolutely nuts. But
Well, it sounds fantastic. And I'm
yeah,
sure the kids are your kids old enough to get involved? Your older kids?
yeah.
Yeah.
2 year old, she loves it. She always comes and she munches with me. We go through the garden like we love
Yeah.
summer. You know, we go out and we pick the mint or the lemon, and I let her taste all the different
Yeah.
flavors.
Yeah.
Actually, one time we were in a friend's house and she went over to their house plant and went to pick a leaf, and I was like, no, 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 we
No.
can't eat these leaves.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. So she's going to grow up with that in her blood as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
hopefully that'll influence her too as she grows up,
Yeah.
you know, to see what is around you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, when you mentioned about tea being therapeutic as well, because I mean, when you look at prescription medications, a lot of them are actually based on herbs and plants.
Yeah,
You know, that's
yeah. And
that's
I think
where
that's
they
one
sort
thing
of came
people
from.
realize that they
Mm,
actually, that's how they started.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
was the herbal medicine. I think sometimes people think that herbs were kind of voodoo or magic
Mm,
or alternative, but actually they were the main medicine at the time. And
mm,
I suppose you know yourself which medicines you have your
yeah,
foxglove, the digitalis, which
yeah.
is the main ingredient in your heart medicine, and then you have your aspirin, which is the salicylic acid from meadowsweet
Salicylic.
and from willow bark
Mm,
that now is in what they, I suppose they isolated that salicylic acid and they made aspirin from it.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is exactly is where they all began. Are there any so with herbal teas, because they're therapeutic, so I guess, you know, we would say to someone who's on a lot of medication just to, you know, be careful that there's no additive effect. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, to
Mm,
always check. Now, a lot of the herbal teas that I use very safe herbs. I
mm,
don't tend to use herbs that might interfere with medications or
yeah.
because, and it's because, you know, the loose leaf tea that we're using, it is, you are going to get a lot of nutrition out of it. You are going to get
Mm,
therapeutic benefits.
yeah,
So you don't want to use anything that somebody's drinking a tea and it's interfering with their heart medicine or,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So I think, did I see that you can customize blends as well, Roisin, if someone has a
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, that's one of
Yeah,
my favorite things to do, actually. I
yeah,
love doing that. Yeah, so people come to me if they have a particular reason. Sometimes they just want a nice tea made for them specifically, but a lot of the time somebody's coming with whatever ailments that they have, or you know whatever's going on for them, and they'll talk to me about it, and we talk about what they like, what flavors they like, and then I'll put together something specific for
mm,
that person.
mm,
And then I can take their full history so I can find out if they're on any medications or if
yeah,
there's anything that's going to interfere. And it allows me to use maybe a broader range of herbs.
yes,
So these would be more heading for like the medicinal as well as the, you know, as well as like has to taste nice, but
yeah,
they would be more, yeah, therapeutic
brilliant.
than
That's
the main
amazing.
two blends. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, super. So I know that you have a gorgeous website. It's really, really beautiful, you know. So I'll be putting obviously the link to that in the show notes. But where else is Healthtea available?
Oh my gosh. So we have actually, we're every couple of months we're getting a new store, which is great. But a lot
Yeah.
of them are bespoke, I suppose, unique stores around Ireland.
Mm.
And all the stores kind of have similar ethos. So like in Cavan we have, you can order off the local green box.
Yes.
And again, you know, they're very much like they support local growers and they provide, you know, a great alternative to supermarkets and ordering from the farmer and getting your food directly. So that's a really great initiative. We have the Eco Shack, the zero waste
Yes.
store in Cavan.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple of other stores. I have one in Waterford, Sunfleck. We have 4 in Galway City,
Super.
and we have in Belfast. And I'm missing another one. Oh, another one in Tipperary, actually.
Super.
So,
That's amazing. Great. So it's a
yeah,
definitely growing business. And I know at local markets, you know,
yeah,
we can usually find you as well, particularly the local green box
Yes, we're always seeing it at the tavern markets, yeah.
Yes, brilliant. That's great.
What I was going to say was to let people know that they too can go and pick the herbs in their garden.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to be afraid. I think that was one thing. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't forage because you don't know what you might get, or what, you know, do. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, exactly. Get to and start to learn about the plants that are growing in our hedgerows and in our gardens.
Like even now at the minute, I don't know, have you seen there's loads of rose hips everywhere? Rose hips are coming out. So they'll be ready to pick in like maybe next month or the month after, before we get the first frost, get them picked. And like they're so super for you, full of vitamin C. They're as good as elderberries for the winter for your immune system.
Yeah.
You probably see them everywhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we have around here is a lot of wild garlic. Because of that, we would forage that, you know, and I'd use that to make a pesto or just mix it in with the salad, you know. But I'm actually only learning about the other wilds. I haven't had a lot of knowledge around that whole around plants. So but I'm definitely going to look up rose hips and keep an eye out for them.
They come after the rose plant and they're in all Irish hedgerows. Look them up, rose hips. They're so super. And you can make a jam from them, you can make a tea from them.
Wow, amazing. Great stuff. And of course we can I think, are they in your Aphrodite, the rose hips? Yeah. That's a gorgeous blend. The vitamin C antioxidants, and then you have your lemon verbena in that one as well. So again, great for the immune system.
Super. Like all the lemon plants actually are antimicrobial and antibacterial and antiviral as well, especially lemongrass.
Yeah.
So very, very good.
Roisin, I'm so impressed by your product and by your business and your business ethos, you know. I think it's fantastic. And for me, it's a no-brainer to recommend to clients. As I said, oftentimes people just can't manage to drink cold water. You know, some people just don't like cold water. So to know that there's a therapeutic herbal tea, which is not only providing hydration, but also, you know, fantastic nutritional benefits as well. You know, it's just a no-brainer, you know. So I'm so grateful to you for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's great to hear about your business, and and thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks a million, Lynn.
No problem. My thanks again to Roisin for her time, and I really enjoyed learning more about herbs and about her business, and I think her passion and her enthusiasm for what she does really shone through. She made a really good point when she suggested that if people are just really starting to try herbal teas and are being introduced to them, that a flavour like lemonade would be a really good place to start, because we all tend to like a sort of a lemony flavour. I thought for a store cupboard staple today, I would just mention 3 other blends that I like and that are particularly good for the gut. I think I've tried about 5 of her blends so far, so I have a few more to go through, but we'll start with these 3 today anyway. So the first one is the Iron Brew, and this is the original blend that Roisin mentioned, which has nettles in it, and it's described as a blast of pure green energy. So this is a deeply nourishing tonic tea bursting with multivitamins and minerals, and that increases vitality and combats fatigue. Now the ingredients are wild nettle leaf, dandelion leaf, raspberry leaf, peppermint and red clover, and altogether these herbs provide iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, B vitamins, vitamin C, phytonutrients such as chlorophyll, and antioxidants. So this is an amazing all-round, really good for your health herbal tea. The second one that I want to mention is the Good Gut Tea, and this is a prebiotic herbal blend designed to soothe, heal and protect your digestive system. So it contains ingredients like meadowsweet, calendula, chamomile, marshmallow leaf, nettle leaf and lemongrass, and these are all ingredients which help when they're combined together, they're going to help heal the gut lining and the mucous membranes. They're going to calm everything down. We all know chamomile tea is great for calming spasms and cramps and our muscles in general, and our nervous system. Marshmallow leaf helps heal the inflammation in the lining of the stomach. Nettle leaf helps to cleanse and remove toxins from the body, and it also replenishes lost vitamins and minerals, rich in polyphenols as well, and they this would be a good gut tea for IBS, for example. The lemongrass is anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, antifungal, antibacterial, and contains vitamin C, beta carotene, magnesium, selenium, and zinc. It does actually taste really nice as well. So this is a really good all-round tea, if you have any gut issues. So the third tea that I'm going to mention today, so out of my top 3 so far, is the Aphrodite, and this is full of vitamin C and bioflavonoids, so they all help really support our immune system, and they also help us, our skin is more radiant as well. So the main 4 ingredients in this are rose hips, which Roisin mentioned during the episode. High in vitamin C, slows down the aging process and improves cardiovascular health. In the YouTube version of this, I do have an image of the rose hips, which I looked up afterwards, so I'm definitely going to be looking out for those in the hedgerows. Hibiscus is packed with antioxidants and it helps boost our liver health. Melissa officinalis helps relieve stress and anxiety while stimulating cognitive function. And the lemon verbena, so we mentioned the lemons earlier as well, antibacterial properties. So again, just a really good immune supporting tea. So I think that it is pretty much a no-brainer as a simple and easy way to boost your nutrient, and delicious I might add, to boost the nutrient content, but do try and steep them as long as you can. So again, at least 10 minutes. And again, through the episode, Roisin had some really good tips about how you can, even make a flavoured water out of the tea by just letting it cool overnight and really, really steep it well. I would definitely recommend, she has got some sample packs that you can buy as well, which has a selection of flavours, so they'd be a great idea too. So in terms of nutrient density, hydration, a really good herbal tea is a fantastic addition to your store cupboard staples, with the only caveat that if you are on medication, just double check that the one you choose doesn't have any contraindications.